Thank you for inviting the European Union delegation today to make a presentation on EU trade and EU trade policy regarding steel. Allow me first to put my presentation into context. The European Union is, as you know, is a single market of 28 member states, 500 million consumers. It is the world's biggest trader, accounting for 16.5% of the world's imports and exports. Free trade has been on the basis of the foundation of the European Union, and the European Union is a committed supporter of liberalization and of the world trade as well. Now, important to understand is that the European Union is a single market, so trade is one of the exclusive competences of the European Union institutions. It is the European Commission who negotiates agreements on behalf of the EU, of the member states, both within the WTO as on a bilateral level. So currently the European Union has negotiated and or is in a negotiation process with over 65 countries. Most recently we launched FTA negotiations with Australia and with New Zealand. Now, the European Union is India's largest trading partner, accounting for total of 85 billion in trading goods in 2017. So the European Union accounted for 17% of India's total export and 11% of India's total imports. The European Union Indian trade in goods is remarkably balanced in the sense that the European Union exports 42% billion to India, whereas India exports 44 billion of goods to the European Union. During the year 2017, EU's major exports to India consisted of engineering goods, gems and jewelry, transport equipment, chemicals and allied products. Metal and metal products only represented close to 7.5% of EU's total exports to India. During the same period, the EU major items of imports from India consisted of textiles and clothing, engineering goods, chemical and allied products. Metal and metal products represent a mere 12% of India's total exports to the European Union. Now, if you take, so this is only the trading goods, I said 85 billion euros reciprocally. If you include services as well, the total trade with the European Union, between India and the European Union, is exceeding 100 billion euros on a yearly basis. This is approximately $300 million a day that we trade between European Union and India. So this is big indeed, but there is really scope for more. As an illustration, China and Europe trade around 650 billion on a yearly basis, 6 times more than EU-India trade. Vietnam, which is a country of only 92 million inhabitants, is trading with the European Union for 60 billion euros a year. Now, the European Union is also the largest investor in India. Indian companies have invested over 50 billion in Europe since 2000, with the United Kingdom, Germany, Netherlands and Belgium as preferred destination. Indian companies employ more than 130,000 people in these 4 countries and many more in other European Union member states. The biggest Indian employer in Europe is Tata, employing approximately 80,000 people in its European subsidiaries. The European Union is one of the largest investors in India, as I said, with a stock of more than 50 billion in investments. Close to 6,000 EU companies are present in India. On a cumulative basis, the UK has been the biggest EU investor in India with investments of 20 billion. The Netherlands follows with 17 billion, Germany 8 billion, and France 5 billion. So EU investments in India cover a broad range of sectors, including automotive, financial services, infrastructure, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, IT, food processing, and so on. Now, let's go into the topic of the day, steel. Steel was on the basis of the creation of the European Union itself. In the aftermath of World War II, 6 European countries set up the European Coal and Steel Community, the first supranational organization to regulate the 6 members' industrial steel and coal production under one centralized authority. The European Coal and Steel Committee was the kick-off process of formal integration, which ultimately led to the European Union, gradually integrating more, leading to the single market, a single currency, and growing from 6 members to 28 members today, -1 in 2 years to come. Now, the steel industry has long held a strategic place in the European Union economy, fostering innovation, growth, and employment. Steel is also closely linked to important industrial sectors, as you know, such as automotive, construction, electronics, and renewable industry. The European Union is the 2nd largest producer of steel in the world after China. Its output is over 175 million tons of steel a year, accounting for 11% of the global output. In Europe, there are over 500 production steel sites split between 23 of the European member states. 2.5 million people work in and around the industry. On the slide, you can see the previous one. On the slide, you can see or read the steel exports and imports from the European Union. So we export approximately 23 million tons, whereas we import 26 million tons. India is one of the EU's main steel importers, 3.7 million tons. India's imports of steel to the European Union have doubled in 2017. Now, the challenge of steel overcapacity is not new. What is new is the recent decision by the United States to impose a 25% import on a duty on steel. According to the European industry, this 25% import duty has led already to an 8% surge in European steel imports this year, because trade flows have been deflected to Europe instead. Not only is there a surge of import, the measure might put Europe's steel export at risk as well, as other countries might be tempted to raise their own steel barriers, causing a domino effect that would harm free trade worldwide. The 2 slides summarize the main challenges the European Union and the world is facing: China's overcapacity and the US import steel. So here, challenge 1, steel overcapacity, where you can see that in 2000 worldwide there was a production of 1,000 million tons, whereas in 2017 we have a total production of almost 2.3 million tons, with 46% originating from China only. The next slide is the US import tariffs of 25%, as I just mentioned before. Now, what is, and I think this is the most important tool of my presentation today, is what has been the European Union's reply to these challenges? First, regarding the overcapacity. First and foremost is, of course, the trade defense measures. The European Union is using the full potential of its trade defense toolbox to ensure fair conditions for its producers and their ability to maintain jobs in the sector. Currently, the European Union has 53 measures, anti-dumping and anti-subsidy, are now in place on steel and iron products, including 27 of products originating from China. So again, trade policy is a policy from the European Union institutions, so anti-dumping decisions are taken on the European Union level and not by individual countries. The second reply to the overcapacity has been the Global Forum on Steel Excess Capacity. So trade defense cannot or can address the effects of global overcapacity, but not its root causes. And that is the reason why the European Union has launched and is participating since December 2016 in the Global Forum on Steel Excess Capacity, bringing together 33 economies, all G20 members, plus some other interested OECD countries. It includes all the world's major producers. European Union and India are co-chair of this forum. Now, the Global Forum on Steel Excess Capacity agreed last November on an ambitious package of concrete policy solutions to tackle the pressing issue of global overcapacity in the steel sector. According to the agreed package, Global Forum members must first ensure market-based outcomes in their steel industry, refrain from market-distorting subsidies and other government support measures that contribute to overcapacity. Third, provide a level playing field between state-owned and private companies. And fourth, enact effective adjustment policies. Regarding the United States measures, as I said, since 1st of June, 25% on imports of steel and 10% imports of aluminium. Now, the European Union, as most of the WTO partners, believe that these unilateral US tariffs are unjustified and are at odds with the WTO rules. Over the past months, we have continuously engaged with the United States at all possible levels to jointly address the problem of overcapacity in the steel sector. Overcapacity really remains at the heart of the problem, and the European Union is not the source of, but on the contrary, equally hurt by it. That is why we are determined to work towards structural solutions together with our partners. We have used all possible possibilities under WTO rules to rebalance the situation by targeting a list of US products with additional duties as well. So in retaliation to United States' decision to put duties on European aluminium and steel, the European Union is now imposing tariffs on a whole series of US imports ranging from Harley-Davidson motorbikes to jeans, bourbon, peanut butter, orange juices, and so on. Regarding India, it has been mentioned before, the iron industry and the steel industry is one of the most important industries in India. You are the third largest producers after China and the European Union, over 100 million tons. Your industry is attracting a lot of foreign direct investment. Now, according to the India's national steel policy mentioned on many occasions before today, India has the ambitious plan to reach 300 million tons production by 2030. I am not a steel expert, so I will abstain from commenting on this, But taking into account the many difficulties the world is currently facing with regards to steel overcapacity, including US protectionist measures, I would recommend to avoid China's mistake by overproducing in the steel sector. My last slide is less important, is more an overview of the different market access issues that our industry is facing when willing to trade or to invest in China regarding the steel sector. So quality control orders of the steel in the steel sector, the issues on public procurement, and of course the export duties that India is or has imposed. So that is my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.